Now, we have been speaking to people throughout the evening about the former president. We do want to bring in Terry Adamson, member of the Carter Center Board of Trustees and Executive Committee since its inception. Thank you so much for being with us.
Yeah, we really appreciate that. So you have been with the Carter Center for 42 years when it started back in 1982. And what I find interesting is that the mission statement is to wage peace, fight disease, and build hope. In the last 4 decades, more than 4 decades, how has that actually evolved with the Carter Center?
Well, in many facets. Of course, it was under the Rosalind and Jimmy's leadership for most of those years, but they have built quite an institution. And it's that institution now that perpetuates their legacy forever. But it's basically in the areas of health and peace. Health also includes mental health, which of course was a pet project of Rosie. And then the diseases you mentioned that have been taken on, tropical diseases that others have largely ignored. The peace programs have taken a variety of forms. It's the role of women in society. It's actually resolving conflicts. And one way in which it is really manifesting itself internationally and in the United States most recently is in the promotion of democracy.
Terry, I want to talk to you a little bit about your relationship with the Carters, because obviously with you being there from the inception of the Carter Center, this is something that was near and dear to the former president and his wife, Rosalind Carter, as well. Talk to us a little bit about your relationship with them and how that transformed over the years as well.
Well, it's evolved. We've known each other for 62 years. I was a senior in high school, or actually a rising senior in high school when we met. He was a state senator in the state senate. There were other various forms of this, and it's not, I don't want to make this about me, about him. But I've been a part of his life in one way or another since then, and served in administration at the Justice Department as a senior official for under the Attorney General, and then became, through a happenstance, I think, President and Mrs. Carter's lawyer on a particular matter, and then that evolved over time, including the evolution, the creation, the nurturing, really the fact the Carter Center has become even more than any of us ever envisioned at the beginning, even though the goals were ambitious.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of folks out there mourning the loss of the 39th president, but, you know, listening to some of the people that we have interviewed today, this has been kind of like a celebration of life.
Yes.
Celebration of what he did while he was in the Oval Office and after he left the Oval Office as well. And I know a lot of people are mourning because you probably see him as family. When you heard the news today, how did you react to that?
Well, in some respect, I was relieved. He did not. He died peacefully, and he didn't have the kind of suffering that a lot of people have to endure in their later years. He lived to be 100 years old. Who would have thought it? He outlived his wife. He had both the pain and pleasure, I think, of being a part of her memory to the nation a little over a year ago. And I think he rejoiced in that. And he's had good times in the years since in terms of his thought processes, his love for his family and friends. And, 100 years is a life very well lived.
When we talk about the Carter Center, Terry, obviously this is something that people hold on to so dearly and want to contribute to because of the lasting impact that the Carter Center has. How do you think that the Carter Center will continue with bringing Mr. Carter's legacy to the people?
Well, it has strong leadership. It has a strong board of trustees. The chairman of the board is President and Mrs. Carter's grandson, Jason Carter. And it has a tremendous staff, professional staff, led by the president and CEO, Paige Alexander. It has been functioning, even though both President and Ms. Carter, while they were living, were very interested in Jason and Paige, were important emissaries to him, and continuing to talk about what the center was doing. It hasn't had their active involvement. It's had their ideals, their principles, their pursuit, their passion. but it hasn't had their direct involvement. And so the institution is vital. It has a powerful staff that believes in a lot of things. It has a lot of capacity. And I believe myself now that it will grow and grow and grow and continue to do good for more people in the world than almost any non-profit and philanthropic institution can do. It's formed a lot of partnerships, valuable partnerships, like with Emory University, and I think it will only prosper and grow as in their legacy.
Yeah, there you go. You know, I'm from the baby boomer generation. I've talked about this in previous broadcasts today. And a lot of times we think, for those of in my generation, you may be thinking about the golden years when I can just put it all behind me and then just rest and relax and enjoy the rest of my life. But he was the type of person that never rested. He was continuously working as long as he was breathing and able to work for Habitat for Humanity and the Carter Center. What type of example is that, not just for those of us in my generation, but the generations behind us, to keep pushing, keep working, keep using your talent for the good of all?
I think you've summarized it quite well. They did that, and when you say he, I think you mean he and she.
Yeah, there you go.
They were
right,
partners until the last year, and did everything together. And they were a powerful force, and they were leave no stone unturned. You know, we often forget he was only 57 when he stopped being president, so he was, by almost any standards, still a young man with quite a life ahead of him. As he moved along in age, he didn't slow down, he sped up. And I think part of the speeding up was he knew there would be an end in sight, and he had a lot to do. So he continued to work even harder.
That's good.
He's an amazing man, a Renaissance man, a poet.
Yes, he was. Terry, I want to talk, because you were so close with the Carters, I want to talk about how you would like for the Mr. Carter to be remembered, because obviously you know him from a different aspect than what most people do. To us, you know, he might just be a politician or someone who has made the difference in so many people's lives, but as someone who knows him personally, how would you like the former president to be remembered?
Well, I think a lot of people will remember him a lot differently than perhaps they viewed him when he was president. They didn't know him. A lot of people didn't know him as well when he was president. He was new on the political scene. And actually that presidency itself is being admired for what he'd accomplished today in the light of history, in the light of what we've seen since, and in the light of some remarkable historians who have begun to write the story with the vantage of history. People like Kai Bird and Jonathan Alter, for a couple of recent biographies that are superb. They cover the life and the presidency in immense form. And it's, I think we'll think of him as the Christian that he was, the good man and woman that they were. And we will remember them a long time as very decent people who believed and pursued justice.
Very well said. Terry Adamson, thank you so much for giving us your thoughts. We want to thank you so much for being with us.
And I'm happy to do it. Thank you for your interest.
Well, thank you. And just based upon that interview, you're helping to build that hope that the Carters, both of them, wanted to see around the globe. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you both. Appreciate it.
Thank you.